Hello everybody, welcome to the Saroy channel. I've got such a lovely story for you tonight, and it comes from us from Sonia from Illinois. Let's get started. Dear Sarah and all your lovely listeners, I am from Pike County in Illinois and my name is Sonia. I live here in a gorgeous country home overlooking a magnificent lake and a wooded area that goes back for many miles. I'm a married woman of 32 years old and I have a 3-year-old daughter called Dottie. My encounter with a Bigfoot happened on the most unlikely day of all days, because everything that could go wrong, from the moment I got up to the time that I went to bed, did go wrong. I'm talking about the kind of day that we do not want to remember and rarely wish to forget. In my case, that is not likely to happen, as this particular day is the day that I saw Bigfoot, and so it will permanently be engraved on my memory for a lifetime. I had invited a couple of friends over for lunch. I had just returned from a weekend in Las Vegas, and I wanted to fill them in on all the details about my exciting adventure, all the casinos I went to, all the shows I watched. I was bursting to tell them everything. Little did I know that that day would offer some interesting entertainment all of its own that would far outdo my Las Vegas experience. I had just started to prepare lunch when the water pipe from my kitchen sink burst and there was water everywhere. I called out a plumber and he managed to fix the broken pipe, but the kitchen looked like a tsunami had hit it. There was water everywhere and it was a massive task to clean up. Let's not kid. I see you have a very large bear out there, the plumber commented in a jovial voice. I must say I've not seen one so large before. He's a hefty fellow, he is. Oh, I said, we do not get too many of those on our property. I ushered him out of the kitchen eagerly for him, because I was eager for him to leave. I was not really going to listen to his idle chatter. I had so much to do, and it was nearly lunchtime. I needed to get on with the lunch before my guests arrived. What was I going to prepare? Oh yes, I was making a hot pasta dish with chicken strips and salad. Just as I was chopping the mushrooms, I heard my golden retriever make that gargling noise from his throat that tells you at once that he's about to throw up and regurgitate his breakfast. Oh no, I said, rushing to his side to push him out of the door. Please no, not on my clean kitchen floor. But it was too late. Piles of vomit floated across the floor in islands of beige puke. It was truly disgusting, and the last thing I needed to be dealing with. I now had pools of vomit to clean up, and my guests would be here soon. Could things have got any worse, I wondered. I escorted my dog into the garden, cleared up the vomit, washed my hands, and continued to prepare the lunch. Before long, both my guests had arrived, but I noticed that Althea was a little flustered. Are you all right? I asked her. Your face is as white as a sheet. As I was driving up your drive, I think I might have hit a deer. It just ran out in front of my car, just like that. It gave me the fright of my life. Is it dead? Oh, I hope not, she said. It seemed to run off into the thicket, so I imagine the poor thing must have made it. Well, there you are, I said. I'm sure the animal's going to be fine. If he's not, it's hardly your fault. You should see in West Virginia, there are lots of near misses with deers, suddenly bolting into the road. It all happens all the time there, so don't worry about it. My kitchen was open plan, and so while I cooked, I could engage with my guests. They were both happily sitting on the settee, drinking large glasses of white wine, when my 3-year-old girl came waddling into the kitchen. Hello there, Dottie, said my friend, cooing with delight to see my little girl. Sonia, she said, she's growing up so fast. Too quickly, I agreed. I watched in horror as Dottie produced the performance of a lifetime. She rolled down her pants and proceeded to pee in the middle of the floor in front of my guests. They sat there in horror, watching Dottie flood the floor with streams of pee. Dottie pulled up her pants and then waddled away just like a duck. My guests keeled over with laughter, but I was once again left clearing up still more pools of water. Was this day going to get any more worse, I wondered. Whereabouts did you hit the deer? Althea asked my friend, peering outside the kitchen window that overlooked the long driveway. It was over there, said Althea. Around there where the bear is, can you see? Whew, that bear is huge, she said, peering out of the window curiously. I'd never seen one quite that large. Let's see, I said, walking over to the window. The plumber was telling me I had a big bear on the property, but we rarely get bears here. Let's see, where did you say the bear was? Althea pointed, and I reached for my binoculars to get a close view of the creature. That's not a bear, I said. Look, it's standing on 2 feet, and its arms are way too long to be a bear's. And see, it also has hands. No, it doesn't have paws. Bears have paws. We watched in stunned silence as the bear-like creature stood up. He was about 8 foot tall, and he had a strange cone-shaped head, virtually no neck to speak of, and a very generous-sized torso that tapered down to a pair of thick, strong legs. What is he? I said in horror. The creature's covered with hair just like a bear, but it's something else. But the question is, what is it? What's he doing? Asked Althea. Oh, my word. I must have killed that deer, the one that I knocked over when I drove up your drive. Look, that creature's got it. He's slinging it over his shoulder. The poor thing must have died moments after I hit him. Now I really do feel bad. I hate killing anything. Sure enough, the creature was carrying the deer over his shoulders, and then the strangest thing happened. He looked up in our direction, almost as if he had felt us looking at him. Then he turned away and walked into the forest in large strides, and his movements were so graceful. Did you see that? Said Althea. I think he sensed we were looking at him. Did you see how human his face was? The face indeed did look human. It was long, the nose appeared to be big, the skin looked weathered and worn, which you would expect if you got exposure from the elements. So there was no telling how old the creature was. Did you see how strong he was? Said Leanne. He lifted that deer up as if it was nothing. Of course, I said suddenly. It's a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot, that's what it is. Althea was so excited, she started to tremble and dial her husband Anton immediately and put the phone on loudspeaker so we could all hear the conversation. Anton, guess what? Anton, guess what? You're never going to believe this in a million years. What's up? Came Anton's voice. We've only just seen a real live Bigfoot. Aren't you supposed to be having lunch with Sonia? I am at Sonia's. We saw the Bigfoot in her field right here at Sonia's place, right from the kitchen window. You must have been seeing something else, babe. No, it was a Bigfoot. I saw his cone-faced and its long arms, and this creature had hands. It was probably a bear, said Anton. No, it wasn't, Anton. Why don't you believe me? Why aren't you listening? When I say I saw a Bigfoot, why don't you believe me that I saw a Bigfoot? Because, babe, they don't exist. Now don't go talking about this stuff at work. Your friends will think you're cuckoo. So you don't believe me then? I believe you think you saw a Bigfoot. That's what I believe. But I believe you didn't see one. Althea switched off her mobile and looked sullen. Why is it so hard to believe that we saw a Bigfoot? Why won't Anton believe me? Shall I see if Jake believes us? Said Leanne, dialing Jake's number. Jake was Leanne's husband. Guess what, Jakes? I've just seen a real live Bigfoot in Sonia's garden. Jake roared with laughter. You're funny, little muffin, he teased. You almost had me going there. For a moment I believed you. So you do not believe I saw a Bigfoot? Someone's playing tricks on you, said Jake. It probably was a man in a ghillie suit if you saw a Bigfoot creature. Someone's just pranking you. Bye, Jake, she said. Oh. But Muffin, came Jake's voice, fading into the distance as he was cut off by a frustrated-looking Leanne. Stuff him, she scolded. No one believes us. This will have to be our secret, because if we tell people what we've seen, they'll just ridicule us. Come on, I said, changing the subject. Let's have some pasta. Are you guys not hungry? Famished, laughed Leanne. I could eat a horse. I put my oven gloves on and opened the oven door and retrieved the hot pasta dish from the oven. It was piping hot, just what we needed, I thought. Suddenly I went flying into the air as I tripped over my golden retriever, who had parked himself in the middle of the floor, and my pasta went flying everywhere, and some of it was even hanging off the walls. Are you all right? Asked my friends, who were trying to suppress their amusement, and then they couldn't hold it anymore. They just roared with laughter. Let's order pizza, I said. I've had just as much as I can take for one day. Anyone fancy cleaning this mess? I teased, knowing full well that I had another date with my mop. The pizza man arrived at our door with all our orders wrapped up in separate pizza boxes. He was greeted by my overexcited golden retriever, who was wagging his tail furiously and carrying 2 pieces of material in his mouth. He thumped his tail on the ground and dropped the material on the pizza man's shoes. It was a couple of pairs of my dirty knickers from the laundry basket. I was flushing with embarrassment, and the pizza man looked mortified by his contaminated shoes. "Who is having the Hawaiian pizza?" he asked. "That'll be me," said Leanne. Once he had given us our pizzas, he fled out of the house as fast as he could. "Did you see his face?" laughed Leanne. "It was priceless. He looked so horrified." So that was my Bigfoot encounter, a disastrous day, when anything that could have gone wrong did. I got a couple of texts from my friends saying that they had not laughed so much in ages, and seeing that Bigfoot was the cherry on the cake. When my husband returned home and asked me how my day went, all I could say to him was, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." I hope you enjoyed my story. Until next time, good night.